Hey, how's it going, John?
Good. A little sick. How are you, Craig?
Good, good. You are away somewhere?
Yeah, I was in Halifax. It was a nice little met with some of my partners, and it was really nice. So glad to be back. It was it was um it was only -6 or -7, but because it was right on the ocean, it felt super cold. So
Yeah, we were definitely in the middle of a nor'easter last week,
yeah,
or
I don't know if
earlier
you're
this
getting
week.
snow today, but we're getting dumped on. We're supposed to get about 15 to 20 centimeters today.
We getting rain right now, but I haven't checked. It's switching to cold in the afternoon, and we'll go. I'm just loading up my tab here, so there we go. I have the right thing loaded up, and I'll be ready to go. Move you up over here. Move you slightly over there. And let's go. Welcome back, everyone, to Silicon Scoop. We got a lot to talk about today, and everyone can see that. We might as well kick it off. Today, we're looking at a massive update from Cambridge University that challenges what we thought was physically impossible with electricity. Scientists have figured out a way to turn insulators, materials that block power, into high performance LEDs, and it's going to change how we diagnose cancer and transmit data.
Yeah.
Researchers have developed a new type of LED using molecular antennas to power materials that usually reject electricity. This is huge because these specific materials produce an incredibly pure form of light that can see deep into human tissue and speed up fiber optic networks. Basically, they found a backdoor to power the unpowerable, unlocking a whole new class of tech. What's going on here, John?
Yeah. So imagine trying to power a light bulb made of glass. Okay. So that's essentially what scientists at Cambridge University have accomplished because they found a way to make materials that normally block electricity produce incredibly pure focused light. So the problem we have here is that there are certain special crystals called lanthanide doped nanoparticles, and they produce amazingly pure light. Like, think of it like having a laser pointer that shines exactly the color you want. But the problem is these crystals are electrical insulators. So think of it like rubber or glass. So you can't just plug them into the walls and make them glow. So the solution they create up with is what you talked about, what you touched on, is these molecular antennas. And they're like tiny electrical translators. So the organic molecules, they catch electricity and they quote unquote whisper the energy to the crystals through this a special, and you're gonna love this, quantum process. So it's like having a wireless charger for materials that can't normally be charged. And so why does this matter? It's essentially like you touched on, it could revolutionize medical imaging. It could allow doctors to see deeper into the human body with incredible precision. So think of it like this. Imagine surgeons being able to spot tiny cancer cells that current technology misses. Or, and you talked about this too, having internet connections that are faster and more reliable because the light signals are so pure. I think this is cool. When I first started reading this, I was like, oh, the blue LED problem is solved. But no, this is even cooler. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like this. It overcomes a decade-old physics barrier. We can now use, like you said, lanthide materials, which have amazing light properties. So I like the fact that, I always look at how is it going to impact us, right? Medical scans produce near infrared light that penetrates skin easily, allowing doctors to spot tumors or monitor organs without cutting people open. Internet speeds, the light is so pure, specific wavelength that it reduces interference in fiber optic cables, meaning faster, more stable internet. And wearable health. The future smartwatches could actually track your blood chemistry and organ function, not just your heart rate. So, this is fresh research. It just came out and was published in November 2025. We're looking at a few years before commercial products hit their shelves, and we're not quite sure of the price, obviously, before we see anything. But These materials operate on low voltage, meaning that they're energy efficient and potentially very, very cheap to run.
Yeah. And this is cool because sometimes the most significant breakthroughs come from solving problems that seem impossible. And so this is one of those where, like you said, for decades, we believed one way and it was impossible to make these things conduct electricity. And now using quantum physics and quantum theory, they've now been able to electrify these components, if that makes sense. So I like this, and the thing with this is it comes at a time where um, it kind of coincides with growing demand for precision photonic devices in healthcare, telecommunications, even sensing applications. So um, the near infrared window has emerged as critical for next generation biomedical imaging, and that's due to reduced tissue scattering and absorption compared to visible and NAR1 light. So we're talking about NAR2 light, which is 1000 to 1700 nanometer wavelength. So this technology, this arrives precisely when the market needs better light sources for these applications. So it's kind of weird that it happened, but at this time, but it's really cool.
Yeah, well, you say it's weird that we need it, but like we're still years away from this, right? Like
Yeah.
right now, they aren't very bright. The antennas only cover about 10% of the particle surface, so light output is low compared to standard LEDs. Manufacturing these at scale is complex. They rely on rare earth elementals like lanthides and precise organic chemistry, which could make the supply chain tricky. Um, so I I don't know if it's super convenient, like there's something going on saying, "We'll create the demand, and right at the moment we'll release it." If they had a product entering the market right now, I would maybe be a little fishy, but they don't.
Yeah.
Um, but the energy transfer from the antenna to particle is over 98% efficient. It operates at just 5 volts, compatible with USB power, near infrared window, that 1000 to 1700 nanometer. The organic molecules act like antennas, catching charge carriers and then whispering it to the nanoparticle, which is surprisingly efficient, said the professor Aske Rao, the lead researcher. So I'm really excited about what this can do for triple state excitement for of a quantum state. Is usually associated with energy loss, but here it's been harnessed to tunnel energy into the insulator. So that's very interesting to see if that'll cross over into different industries.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this, but I think we're still a few years away from seeing any applications anywhere.
Yeah, I think we're about 5 to 7 years away from specialized medical applications. Um, I, they've already proven it in a lab, right? And it's not like they're using exotic materials or anything like that. Well, kind of, but not really. But nothing that would seem that it would hinder them too much, obviously, from proving this and scaling it up. But there obviously are some barriers. I don't know what those are, but there obviously are going to be some barriers to that. But this is really interesting and really promising.
Yeah, indeed. So this is a platform shift that turns the impossible into the efficient. Is this the breakthrough that finally puts hospital grade scanners into smartwatches? Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll keep watching this story closely and see as it develops and what products it reaches.
Mhm.
Everything good? Okay. Stop scrolling and listen. Google just dropped a new browser that might actually kill the tab clutter for good. It's called Disco, and it doesn't just show your website, it actually builds apps while you surf. If you tried, if you're tired of 50 tabs open just to plan a vacation, this update seems to be waiting for you. Imagine if your browser wasn't just a window to the web, but a proactive personal assistant. Google's new Disco browser uses Gemini 3 AI to look at your open tabs and instantly build custom tools like a travel planner or a research dashboard, right in the sidebar. It's currently a Mac exclusive experiment from Google Labs, but it represents a massive shift from passive browsing to active doing. So this is a lot similar to what we've seen, well, similar but different with Atlas and the other AI browsers, because this kind of actually takes what you're doing and just builds apps and stuff from them.
Yeah, I still don't understand why you would want an app built when you're browsing. Like, I get you're talking about like a travel planner and things like that. If this didn't come out now and it came out like April 1st, I would think it's more of an April Fool's. I'm not understanding the use cases for this. Like, I can get it sometimes, like, okay, if a user is planning a trip and they've got tabs open on flights, hotels, so they can an interactive itinerary planner, fine, that's cool, I guess. But I'm not always doing that. Like, I'm researching, and I'm a tech geek, and I just I don't I think this is one of those things that's going to fail very quickly, but I could be wrong. What do you think?
Well, I'm on the wait list for this. There's a lot of cool Google experiments, and I play around with a lot of them. I don't know if anybody is checking them out. We'll take a look in a minute. And I've got the video for coming on. I hate the fact that they all use these travel planner example, the thing that somebody does twice a year or once a year or once every 2 years, and we're somehow going to build an app for that. Like, that, it doesn't make sense. But what does make sense is things you do every day. So if you've got multiple tabs open and you're copying and pasting stuff from here to there, an example would be, and I go to this example all the time, in WordPress, there are things you can't programmatically fill up sometimes without doing some really funky things. So a lot of times when I'm updating my sites, I have to get the meta description. I got to get the keywords. I got to publish it to a certain date. There's things I got to manually go and fill in. And I usually got to copy it from a spreadsheet or another thing over to the right field. So I could easily see, hey, this would be a tool that say, just do that. Here, go take these and put them in here. Let me show you how to do it. And then now it's your turn. And if it could take over that job for me, great. That would be great.
Okay, I get that, but that's the same as all these other browsers. Like, that you don't need it to build an app for that.
Well, my point, yeah, I disagree though. Like, the problem with all the other app, I was doing this with Atlas, and I was doing this with what is the, let me jump back to this one, the Anthropic one.
Comet?
Anyway, yeah, Comet. Sorry, but they are very inefficient. The thing about building an app is it quickly learns, like, to do exactly what I did, and I demoed that before with Comet or Atlas, can't remember which one off the top of my head. It always has to figure it out. Okay, the user wants me to do this. Let me go open the page. The page didn't open fast enough, so I got to re-click the button, but it's already open. And then it's scrolling. I can't find a thing. It's got to scroll down. I don't see it. Let me grab the page again. Oh, it's at the bottom. Let me, it takes a while every time to figure it out, rather than an app would say, all right, I'm going to learn every time and say, oh, it's always at the bottom. I'm just going to jump to it. It's always here. Let's just do it here. So all of a sudden you say, okay, here's my sheet. Go fill up my metadata for these posts. I got 10 of them here. Go do it. And bing, bing, bing. It'll do it way more efficiently than a browser that really has to figure things out every single time.
Okay, I get that, but can't you just introduce memory then into these browsers instead of, like, I don't understand. I think they're selling it wrong, because they're saying, oh, it's going to take your tabs and build an app from that. Like, I think that's stupid.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that they're saying this is the end of tabs, because it's actually the opposite. But I mean, you could do a lot with this once you get your head around agents forms and say, okay, well, if I apply agents to this and say, there's a lot of things I do. Like, for example, I could open up my, you can do all sorts of things, but I could open up my competitions websites and say, okay, this is my competition. I want you to scan them for price changes, for this, for that, complaints. and then do something over here for me, and then do something over here for me, and then do something over here for me. So again, it depends on how efficient they are and how good they can do the multi-step, do something here and then do something over there and then do something over there. But that is very interesting. For example, an email comes in with an invoice. I want to grab it. I want to take a snapshot of it. I want to open up QuickBooks in my browser. I wanted to assign it to the right thing, and I want to save it, and I want it not to have to figure that out every time. So you could build an interaction to do that. Like you might have other ways to do it, and these might not be the best examples. Google's terrible at, because hey, let's do a travel thing. It's like, okay, but let's do something that people do on a regular basis. Like, I don't know, what do you do every morning? Searching your email, searching news, searching social media. We can get the browser to do that for you.
Yeah, but again, why? Like, I don't need the browser to search that. Like, I go to my websites and I read it up to where I read the last time, and that's it. Like, I guess maybe I'm becoming an old man and I'm stuck in my ways, kind of thing. But I don't see the novelty in this in the like I just don't see this.
I guess it's just more user friendly automation at the front end. So like, I don't know how
often user friendly automation, because like what happens if you have a tab of, say, something that you don't want as part of the app, and then it just includes that and it builds the app? Like
I assume you're not a moron and have multiple porn sites and stuff up while you're building your app and say, hey, build this app.
No, but like, I'm just saying, I don't get it.
Well, it does to your prompt. And so you would build the tabs and stuff in Disco, have them open, and then tell it, hey, do this, hey, do that. So it's not like you'd have all these things. So you're specifically trying to automate workflows that make sense to you. For example, I'm on my Bloomberg app website with all my trackers. When the Disco app sees something happen, it'll go open up my E-Trade app and sell, or open up my E-Trade app and buy. I don't know. I'm just using it as an example. These are things you can get it to do based on stuff. So you're right to say that the use case examples they give aren't great, but you got to sit and turn around and say, what is it you really do that takes time, and how do we automate that? Or what are those things you don't really know how to do? For example, we did the example of find the best camera. You can build the apps that'll shop for you based on your criteria, and it'll go to those websites, find the stuff, and surface those things to you. How useful that is.
Yeah.
So there's other automation things that you can do.
I guess I think they positioned it wrong, completely wrong, right out of the start. So, just because of that, I'm not using it.
And that's fine. But like, for example, one of the apps is using Google Maps to do stuff. But what if you just said, okay, I can develop a Google Maps scraper to scrape potential clients in a geographical area and do a bunch of things with them, and then based on a whole bunch of stuff, using this app easily enough. Okay, well, that's interesting. I can do it other ways, but I'm just saying, when I say surfacing it to the end user, you're not running code in the back end. You're not using end-to-end to connect nodes and trying to figure out all this credential stuff. You're saying you're in a browser saying, hey, grab the data from here and go do this and go do that. That piece should be easier to the end user, is all I'm saying.
I think this is going to be a big miss, and they're going to have to kind of rethink how they're presenting this. But I could be wrong.
These are Google experiments, right? There's a lot of stuff in here, and I don't know if you've gone. Anybody who's listening, go to labs.google/experiments, and you'll see all this stuff. And there's some really interesting, cool tools in here. Most of these will not become products. They're experimenting to figure out what services, what use cases, what should they build. They're saying some of these features in Disco will probably eventually make it to their Chrome AI browser. So it's just, these are all experiments for them. if you haven't looked at it, I'm just going to quickly go through this because it's worth taking a look. Again, labs.google/experiments. CC is an experimental AI. It doesn't work for people who have a corporate Google account, but if you have a personal account, which some gets a personalized email briefing every morning, which tells you about your appointments, what emails you have to reply to, all that stuff comes in, which is interesting. Doppel is an experiment from Google Labs that lets you discover, try on, and shop personal looks. So you can actually find outfits, put them on yourself, and see what they look like, which is interesting. Pomeli is basically on-brand marketing and social media stuff. It actually pretty cool. I've been experimenting with it a little bit. I'm just not sure if it's going to let me in because it's busy at times. And I just wiped. Let me share this for now. So it went ahead and created a bunch of these. You can see these, right?
Yeah.
So these just basic from a prompt. Pomeli, you point it at your website. It grabs your logo. It grabs your fonts. It grabs your colors. It grabs a whole bunch of images. And then you say, okay, what do you want to run this campaign about? And then it starts creating these images or videos or whatnot of that for you. And it does a pretty darn good job of it. So
Cool.
it's worth taking a look at if you're into that. Again, this is just these are all free, by the way. Some of them they take another level and you get more access if you have a Google Workspace account or whatever. Opal is their build and edit mini apps, which is interesting. It's like their version of N8N.
Oh, cool.
They have a learning tool that will build an interactive experience to teach you stuff. Music Sandbox, Stacks, Archives, Project Mariner, Flow, which allows you to create videos using VO3 in a nice way. Stitch creates Figma-like images that you can import right into Figma or whatever for your app. Like these are all free. Jules is a asynchronous coding agent that automates tasks within GitHub workflows like bug fixes, writing tests, and adding features.
I get all of those. Those all make sense to me.
But again, these things are not all going to become products. A lot of them are experiments. You know, so go and take a look because you can usually generate a bunch of videos for free. There's a ton of crap here. And I get that maybe Disco, like they're not putting this as their primary browser. They're actually saying some of these things might end up in the Chrome browser. So I don't know how much Disco will actually be part of something. Now, I've only used Google's access to their AI browser is limited. I've been able to use it through anti-gravity a fair bit. It's very interesting. You also have to be careful when you trigger these AI browsers because Cloudflare will block you in a microsecond if it thinks you're an AI browser. So, and I've had that happen. So,
good to know.
Just good to know because there's a lot of companies out there that are against this kind of stuff. So I was sharing all these things. So check out Google experiments. I don't know if you think Disco will be, I don't like the trip planning, but I like the homework research. It can generate 3D models like solar systems or organized timelines based on articles or reading or history. So there's some cool things it can do. I've signed up for the beta, so we'll have to see, and I'll experiment when it comes out and we'll see what kind of use cases I come up with. But I'm curious to see what the audience is out there. Is Disco proving that the future of web isn't about searching for information, it's about having AI synthesize that information for us instantly? I think the answer is yes, but Disco might not be the solution to do that. But here's the $1 million question. Are you willing to let Google watch your every move in exchange for a browser that does your homework? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to hit the follow button.
Sorry.
No worries, John. I know you're not feeling great. All right. We're talking about Anthropic.
Speaking of Anthropic, they've really slowed down recently.
Well, I think everyone else is spread up.
I'll say it's very thorough, but it's a lot slower than it used to be.
All right, let me get we need to talk about a specific date that experts are terrified of, 2027. According to chief scientist at Anthropic, that is the year humanity has to make the single most dangerous decision in technological history, whether to let AI start building itself. We are approaching a critical decision window between 2027 and 2030. This is the moment where traditional AI development hits a wall, and the only way to get smarter is recursive self-improvement, letting the AI write its own code and run its own experiments without humans. It's the key to superintelligence, but it's also the exact scenario researchers fear could lead to us losing control forever. Now, I know people who spin up agent swarms that do this. They've got a prompt, they've got some documentation or whatever. And when I say an agent swarm, they'll literally spin up 10, 20, 100 agents that are all working on the code at the same time. One's running tests, one's doing evaluations, they're doing coding, they're doing this, they're doing that. And it's like 1,000 times faster than anything. Some of the experts doing this. So I think it's happening now. They're just not allowed to infinitely go. Say, go build whatever you want forever and anything, go do it. Like, we're not involved anymore, which is a scary point. So do you think this is the 2027 to 2030 time frame where we allow AI to start building itself continuously is the Skynet moment?
Yes. It could be. It could potentially be. So just so that everyone understands, so what this means is it's a fundamental choice about autonomy and control, right? So right now, for those of you that don't know, like AI research, it's nearing a phase where built-in safeguards might be insufficient. And that's because systems might begin to autonomously, train and improve themselves, which that means that it's going to, like, we're running out of training data, we're running out of all these things. So this is essentially called recursive self-improvement. And so it's not just simply AI learning from data under human supervision, okay? It's AI that iteratively redesigns or enhances its own architecture and capabilities without humans in the loop. That's the crazy part, okay? So this is what Kaplan is saying could lead to an intelligence explosion. And so I think that is I don't know if that's the Skynet moment or if the Skynet moment will come shortly after that once it becomes sentient. I don't know. What do you think?
I guess well, I guess some of this is happening now. And I guess it's the uncontrolled, unfettered check, right? That the loss of meaningful oversight and the unintended goal pursuit. Once they turn that on, that we've got some issues, because we know that most of them run out of training data, and they're using synthetic data. They have AI create the data for itself to train itself. Now it's all that Q-star system from OpenAI and whatnot, where the latest models are all trained on their own data that they've made up. At least that's the messaging to us. So I get it's getting worse and worse. I think, yeah, I'd say that would be a tipping point. And, we only have to look at the AI drones, the surface to air, the air to air jets that we've seen that are totally unmanned and AI controlled, where they make the microsecond decision in the flight to do whatever they need to do, and humans can't keep up with them. Yeah, let's turn on AI and give them access to all that stuff and not think we're going to hit the Skynet.
Yeah. But the thing is so, like, we've seen these edge cases where the AI starts blackmailing and starts doing things that are kind of like scary, right? And so the question is, if we put fail safes in place, are they actually going to protect us? Like, or is the AI going to be able to circumvent them? Like the only thing is a hardware on-off switch. But even then, if the AI is in the cloud, then how do we protect ourselves? Like truly protect ourselves?
Yeah, I don't think we can. You know what? And I'm not, the gurus in this industry. The only way we can is to isolate it from everything, but that's not going to happen.
No.
So once an AI starts improving itself, it'll evolve faster than we can understand, and we wouldn't be able to check its work because it wouldn't be thinking in ways we can even comprehend. And that loss of control. And if an AI sets its own goals to be efficient, it might do things that hurt humans, like using too much energy or destabilizing economies just to win at its task, as an example.
Yeah.
And the alignment problems. Experts like Jared Kaplan are worried that we won't have safety protocols ready in time for this explosion. So,
And we still don't even know how how it works, how like the intricacies of it, and like we kind of do, but we don't. And so how do we protect against something we don't even understand?
yeah, and there's all sorts of theories around it. I like to put on my conspiracy theory hat for a second, John,
Yeah.
and say there's lots of people that says this stuff came from alien technology or this and that. It was found in this. They kind of, trying to backwards engineer stuff they found. Again, that's conspiracy theory stuff because, it is interesting that I have talked to many, many founders, AI founders who raised hundreds of millions of dollars and built AI and sold AI companies. Yeah. And, they say no one really understands. We can make it more consistent. We can give it more information. We can kind of get it to do what we want, but no one really understands why it works.
And that tracks. No, it does, because how do you build something without understanding how it works? Unless you're reverse engineering something.
Is this the Iron Man scenario where they're trying to re-engineer the AI artificial intelligence from the aliens, and it turns into what was that? Which movie was that where turns into sentient android that tries to take over the world?
I don't know which one.
But that was the they one where they made Vision as well, but they had to fight the other android, which was Dave Spader.
Wow.
Anyway, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but nonetheless, the point being is when you start engineering stuff you don't understand, there's a lot of things that can happen that are beyond your control.
Yeah, for sure there are. Yeah. And especially as we keep allowing it to be more autonomous and trusting it more, we're gonna run into problems. We already have. They've already seen the problems as they interact with it, but they're ignoring them and they're still moving forward.
Yeah, and Jack Clark, Anthropic co-founder of AI, said AI is something far more unpredictable than a normal machine. So this is, we just have to keep these things in mind. And we already use a light version of this called distillation, where big AI teaches smaller AI to be efficient. The difference is humans still supervise distillation. In recursive self-improvement, the humans would leave the room. So we are moving from an era of humans building tools to tools building tools. And we only have about 3 years to figure out the safety manual. So do you trust AI to write its own software updates, or should we be keeping humans' hand on the wheel? Let me know your comments. This is going to be one of the biggest debates of the decade. Yeah, I don't normally like it when things put Trump in the headline. I was going to take it out. The AI did that. And I'm like, why not? Let's just see if we get more clicks by leaving it in there.
You know what? That's why I included it, because I figured, you know what? We haven't really covered anything like this. And let's see.
Well, I think it's an idea. Today we're looking at a massive update to how United States handles science and technology. That is being compared to the Manhattan Project. The White House just signed the Genesis mission, and it's legally mandating that They doubled down on the speed of scientific discovery within the next 10 years using AI. The US government is officially decentralizing its artificial intelligence efforts. Instead of different agencies working in silos, the Genesis mission merges federal research labs, supercomputers, and massive government data sets into one unified brain led by the Department of Energy. It is a declaration of technological Cold War, specifically designed to outpace China in everything from drug discovery to nuclear energy. What do you think about this, John?
Yeah, I don't understand where this is coming from, first off, because he doesn't believe in science anyway, but we don't need to get into that. But so yeah, at its core, it seeks to build a unified AI infrastructure that is apparently going to integrate high performance computing, AI modeling frameworks, federally curated and proprietary data sets, which I think is really important here, and the experimental automation tools. So like robotics or AI augmented labs, like what we've covered before in some of our previous podcasts. But I like it. If it actually does go somewhere, the biggest thing I think is I think the US has a lot of really big, important data sets that no one else in the world has. And I think that is one of the biggest pieces of this entire thing. But that's just me. What are your thoughts on this, Craig?
Well, you know, of the two of us, I am more favorable towards the US president than you are. I think he recognizes, or the team around him recognizes, that whoever wins the AI/quantum war, because to me it's part of the same war, will win. And we, North America, Canada, US, whoever you want to say is we, can't afford to be far behind, if behind at all. So they're recognizing that. And, you know, maybe it's working with Elon Musk. Maybe, you know, they're obviously that most of this deal actually with this stuff is dealing with OpenAI. That's pissed Musk off, but because they're spending billions of dollars with OpenAI. I think AI is the future. It's here. We can sit back and say, nah. But like, at what imagined future can you possibly see that it doesn't exist? Okay, like all of a sudden, all the worlds and everyone says, "Yeah, no thanks." Like it's not going to happen, right? So, sticking your head in the sand and say everyone else can do it. Okay, if you want to live, you know, on the farm and whatever, that's great. But at a national intelligence point of view, at a national defense point of view, at maybe tackling fraud and waste and abuse, this stuff is going to be put into place to maybe do intelligent help governments actually be intelligent. And maybe we, you know, and maybe people aren't a fan of this. I'm not a fan of big government. You know, you know, if we can actually shrink the size of the number of public employees, I'm pretty happy with that.
I agree.
So it's a huge initiative, right? From like, it's going to affect all aspects. Everyone knows it. And I think no one wants to be left behind. So like it's a massive mission to to the moon kind of thing. It wants to get everybody around it, wants to spend millions and billions of dollars training people up to be, you know, the leader in something again. And I think, you know, if you sat back, and we've talked about this a little bit off the side, this is exactly what I think Canada should do is AI and energy. We've got super cheap energy and we've got massive intelligent resources. We could be the AI country of the future. Other people will beat us to it just because they're more focused and have more money. But you can't ignore it. And building your workforce around the future with AI is very smart. And I think it's the way to go.
I agree.
So like I said, when I am not as negative as you are with the US president, because I think some of his policies I actually like. And I like to judge politicians on what they try to do and not who they are, because as far as I'm concerned, they're all lying, two-faced expletives that I can't say on YouTube. So anyway, politics aside, accelerate. The goal is accelerate scientific discovery with AI. We talked about all the gene stuff, the protein enhancement, the scientific discovery in space, the signaling, the quantum discovery, lead the global technology race, double scientific productivity within the next 10 years. I'm not 100% sure what that means, if that means patents or
yeah, I don't know,
cycles or what have you, but it's an interesting goal. Strengthen national security, consolidate federal initiatives, and maximize taxpayer ROI. Ensure that maximum return on taxpayer investment in federal research and development is by creating measurable outcomes in commercial applications. I would love to see that last one, but that's the one I doubt the most.
Yeah, I like, honestly, I would love to see this. I think Canada needs to do something similar. And obviously we're building that data center, but whatever. That's not anything close to what they're doing here. I know that we're working on nuclear fusion. We're working on quantum computer. We'll cover that in another episode. But I think we need like an actual like declaration like the U.S. is doing.
Agreed. And people have talked to me about, what can Canada do? And I'm like, we've got nearly free energy.
Yep.
So loosen it up.
And we've got smart people that we're losing to Europe and the US.
And there's no reason why we can't be using all these things together to solve a lot of Canada's problems. We have a job shortage. Great. We have a housing shortage. Great. We can't sell lumber to the US. Great. Why aren't we teaching people to build houses, have a housing program, building these data centers, build living for people around those data centers, put people in them? Like, we can solve these things so that our industry is still, we're buying wood, that we're still like, but we don't want to take those kinds of actions because it favors one industry or another. Global trade and a lot of other things, and politics gets in the way. That's the problem. Once you become a politician, politics gets in the way. So we can solve a lot of problems. I would love to see, it's Wonder Valley out in Alberta that they're calling it, I think, where they've got that massive multi-billion-dollar AI data center, and it looks amazing. I would just love to see some major companies adopting it. Built in northern Alberta where it's cold. They've got natural water supplies and stuff for the cooling and all that stuff, and the energy. Natural gas is super cheap there. So we'll have to see. I see what the U.S. is doing, and I applaud them for it. I just think Canada should be jumping on that bandwagon too.
Yeah, we'll see.
And, on the flip side, because we like to talk about business, who are going to be the biggest winners and losers in this, right? So who's going to, the chips, what are the operating systems? Is it just going to be OpenAI, or any of the other people going to get a chance? Is this a big Microsoft project, or is this a big Oracle project, or is this, who's like, there's a lot of money involved in this, and I like on the surface what they're trying to do, but there's a lot of fat government contracts in the back end that people are vying for, and I'm curious to see what that means in the AI race. Who's going to get the biggest chunk of that money?
Speaking of which, I think there was something, I can't find it again, but apparently someone has developed similar technology to what TSMC has. I'll have to find it. Maybe we can talk about it, but anyway, sorry.
Yeah, definitely interested in that. So they're looking for closed loop AI, and not being just a chatbot. It's a system where AI designs experiments, the lab robots execute it, and AI learns from the result to design the next one instantly. So this is very interesting. The Genesis mission is an attempt to speed run the next industrial revolution by handing the keys of the national labs over to AI. So is the government-run super AI lab the key to the future, or is this the start of a sci-fi movie we typically regret? Let us know what you think in the comments.
Yeah. I've got a hard stop at 9. Just heads up.
Yes. Okay. Forget the AI wars for a second. There's a new global race heating up, and Canada just dropped a massive chunk of change to stay in the lead. We're talking about technology that makes today's supercomputers look like pocket calculators, and the government is betting big that the future of computing will be built right here in the Great White North. Canada's fighting back against the US dominance by launching the Canadian Quantum Champions Program to stop Canadian talent from fleeing to American programs like DARPA. The government is handing out $23 million checks to 4 specific homegrown startups. This isn't just a grant, it's a strategic move to ensure that when quantum computers finally change the world, from breaking encryption to discovering new drugs, Canada owns the intellectual property. What do you think about this move, John?
I think this is the right move, and this is what we need to do with AI as well. Obviously, there's not that much money that they've allocated, but it's better than nothing for now. And so, shout out to BetaKit for covering this. Love BetaKit. I love the articles they come out with. But so, the program's funded with up to 92 million in its first phase, which is part of a larger 334 million. Again, this is my opinion, but that's not much when we're talking quantum. But it's a good start. It offers funding of up to 23 million Canadian, each to promising firms like Xanadu, Nord Quantique, Photonic, and Anion Systems. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. So I like that Canada's government is kind of trying to position this effort as a strategic response to the DARPA quantum program that has courted a lot of Canadian quantum tech firms. And so I like that they're launching this initiative to keep people and companies in Canada, because like you said, we've got an abundance of cheap energy. We've got an abundance of natural resources. It's a great spot to do the research. What do you think?
Yeah, I think just to bring people up to speed, on quantum computing versus regular computing, imagine a giant maze. A normal computer tries to solve it by running down a single path one by one until it finds the exit. A quantum computer runs down every single path at the exact same time, and it solves problems in seconds that would take a normal supercomputer thousands of years. So we're hitting physical limits on how fast standard computer chips can get. Quantum represents a leap forward. It allows us to simulate nature, molecules, weather systems perfectly, and all this other stuff. And it's allowed us to do breakthroughs in medicine, batteries, and security. So I do think the multi-company approach, not putting all your eggs in one basket, is a good thing. I'd like to see the government spending money. 334 million overall is not a lot of money. When I think, they're building minimum of $5 billion per data center down in the US or something like that on top. That's just to build the data center. Never mind, this stuff. So I don't know how much we can compare on funding wise, but ideally with some fast moving startups, the ones you mentioned, that we can get a couple of really good breakthroughs that will help us lead the way. And, if we're footing the bill, ideally the IP stays here with us. And maybe we've had some really great breakthroughs in quantum in Canada.
Yeah.
And we've talked about many of them. So I hope this changes. It doesn't change that. I hope that pushes us to the forefront on more of these, because I believe who controls quantum does control the future. We talked a little bit about AI. AI is going to play a role in that.
Yeah.
Once you get AI and quantum working together, you're going to be in a whole different kind of level. So
absolutely.
I'd love to see more.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
In the long run, federal officials, this project, as they're saying, it could contribute to tens of billions of dollars to Canada's GDP, but that's only if they fund it properly. If they underfund it, then it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to go very, very, very. It's not going to go very far at all, and we're going to lose it to the states. So we got to make sure that we do this properly.
Yeah, and Xanadu pursues photonic quantum computing, which uses particles of light photons to perform quantum calculations. Mm-hmm. While Nordic Quantic focused on superconducting qubit technologies, the approach used by major players like IBM and Google. Superconducting qubits have demonstrated high gate fidelity, fast operation speed, established research. So these are some of the companies they're putting their money behind. which are leading definitely areas. So I really like that concept. Critics worry that we're throwing money away at technology that is still very experimental. So we're paying for potential, not finished products. There is a genuine fear that once these computers work, that they will render all internet encryption useless. And it's a race between building the computer and building the shield to stop it. So that's definitely a concern. But I love that we are actually actively starting to invest in serious technology here in Canada. And this is definitely a step in the right direction.
I agree.
So this is Canada paying attention, or this is Canada paying a premium to ensure we are just customers of the next tech. We aren't that. This is Canada just paying a premium to ensure we aren't just customers of the next tech revolution, but the architects of it. So is this a smart bet with taxpayer money, or should we let private market handle it? Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll keep watching the story. So what do you got going on, John?
Well, let's hope I'm still not sick when this comes out. But when is this coming out? Do you think
this will be coming out mid to end of January?
So we've got February coming up. Hopefully, no more deep freeze, and we got some Flowgrammer events and some startup drink events. What about? And I think CIXs will be coming up in March. So, how about you, Craig?
Yeah, we've published I've got the schedule drafted for our 2026 Flowgrammer and Toronto Starts events, and we have 4 Flowgrammer events in February. So check those out, and Startup Investor Drinks. So keep those in mind. 2 of those are online. One is the Flowgrammer Cafe, and then the other is a meetup where we do live build sessions. So if you're into building, coding, whether it's workflows or developing with AI or just sitting down, check out flowgrammers.ca with an S, so that you can join our community of builders and share in all the fun of what we're doing. We're a fast growing community with over 1,000 members now. Our first Flowgrammer Cafe, it was sold out before I could actually announce it.
That's awesome. So, congrats.
Yeah, I just like, okay, there's some other logistic stuff that has to be pointed out, but it's funny. I went to share it and I'm like, oh, it's already full. What do I do? what do I do? So we're growing rapidly. If you're into this already, great. If you don't know where to start, great. Join us either online or in person. Check out flowgrammers.ca for all the information around our AI and builders hubs. And John, if people wanted to get non-dilutive funding, there's a bunch of new SR&ED rules and eligibility and money. They should talk to you, shouldn't they?
Yeah, reach out to me on LinkedIn, guys. I'm fairly active there, posting always weekly at least. But feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have questions about the changes to SR&ED or about any kind of other non-dilutive funding. But if you need any kind of help with your startup overall, other than non-dilutive funding, how do they find you, Craig?
Just head over to torontostarts.com. You find everything over there. We have a bunch of other websites, or check the links below. Either in the podcast will be in the show notes, or if you're on YouTube, just scroll down a little bit. All the links to all our stuff is there. So check all of that stuff out. We help startups. We do business automations. We do AI implementations. We do all sorts of things, and our community is getting stronger. So check out everything over there. And thanks for watching.